is with Leviatan, winners of the Superdome.
Yeah.
I have thoughts, I have opinions, and I want to hear all of yours. Okay? But I also want to. Okay, there's a lot of things I want to talk about Leviatan here.
Okay.
I have a lot of things I want to get to, honestly. But let's start with their performance. They take down the tournament. They don't drop a map. Thoughts on the team's level right now?
Dude, I think that they look pretty good, actually. Pretty fleshed out on a lot of maps when I was watching. I think their Haven is fantastic with the amount of time they put into that. They're always, like with Tex moving over to a Sentinel role, there's always going to be, you're like thinking, okay, well, always chance for stuff like that to go wrong. But they are on top of it. They were constantly maneuvering their setups, like around Aspas opping and Tex's setups with his, like, he had a turret in short, he had like the usual setups towards like mid, and it was pretty good. Furia really took it to him, though. I think the big hitter being like MW, I think, was just hitting.
Bro, I'm about to. 2020 me is about to come out. My actual
O MW esse jogo aqui tava muito acima mesmo, velho.
Yeah.
He was on Haven. He was diffing Aspas with the op. There was a round where he just a Sheriff v op tapped him, and then the next round beat him in an op duel. My goat. He didn't even used to, like, his op was never as strong as his rifle either when he was playing duels before. Now his op was looking sick. But sorry, listen, I needed to pop up. My goat is back.
Yeah, his attack side op was really good. I think for as good as Lev looked, they really did get pressured pretty hard because the mechanical talent from Furia is not in doubt, honestly. I was mad impressed with their new smokes player. What is it, Liazi? I think.
Liazi, yeah.
Liazi? Yeah, dude.
I know why all these teams were trying to get Havoc in the offseason.
Yeah.
God damn.
Dude, they have got talent for days.
It was crazy good.
The only thing that was really missing was the just the overall, like, I don't think they had the experience or prep time on a lot of these maps compared to Lev. I could just see that, but
Yeah, I felt like a lot of it was just like individual kind of like cheesy stuff.
Smoke Mid, muito grande essas legendas, diminuiu um pouco, mano. Tá muito grande essas legendas, velho.
All the time it was like Havoc setting him up, and because Havoc used to play duelist, right? I wonder if he has like a good understanding of like flashing off angles and like how to actually get the most out of the duelist as well. So I was impressed with Havoc on the Sky. I thought his flashes were like top tier when I was watching them.
Cara, eu acho que do que a Fúria jogou, né? Eles estão falando da Fúria e tal. Eu também acho que a Sky do Havok hoje, ela tá bem superior ao KO dele, tá ligado? Eu acho que a Sky do Havok hoje é o melhor agente do Havok hoje, é a Sky. E se ele masterizar o KOzinho dele mais um pouco, mano, eu acho que dá bom em vários mapas. Mas a Sky dele tá bem on point mesmo.
So I'm kind of excited if they decide to continue with these roles of MWs.
Pra quem vê no céu é good, Spacão, pode crer, mano. Tá certo.
They look good. In terms of Lev, I don't know how they're this drilled with this much time, to be honest. They look very drilled. They actually look pretty set in terms of the team. I felt like King's calling and King's mid-rounding is crazy. Like, even if we're not talking about frags, like, how he's just controlling it. Like, I'm a mini-map watcher. I'm watching the mini-map thinking, this guy is a god at the moment. Like, everything's just incredible. Like, everything's so good. And I'm like, damn, this team is... It looks scary. It looks scary for next year.
Yeah. It looks so damn good. But yeah, mad impressed with Fury as well because of the stuff that we've already talked about. But one of the things that Lev and Fury were doing against them pretty well was actually just punishing the overextension that Cloud9 likes to do. Like the previous episode, I was talking about Cloud9, their kind of like overall style is they like to take a lot of map control, like taking the front of a site, and then they very quickly try and take like another area, like either like elbow or pushing out something else, to try and catch teams when they're setting up for the retake. And it works really well if you're not ready for it, but Lev and Fury were ready for it in the matches that I watched when I was just watching the upper final and lower final. They were always just quite patient with it, and they've got the mechanical skill to just punch back as well. They're not going to get strong armed out of those positions. And it was kind of ruining Cloud9 a little bit, because then when it doesn't work in that way, when the team's ready for it and expecting it, you're fighting in a really bad position. You're just never going to be favored fighting in those spots when they're just absorbing all that aggression. And so there was a few instances of that.
Cloud9 aqui, rapaziada.
Overall, I'm just...
É aquela história, né? É um time que tem um DNA de ser agressivo. Eu, particularmente, cara, não gosto do IGL da Cloud9. Eu acho o Venet um jogador muito abaixo do cenário norte-americano hoje, da Liga das Américas. A Cloud9 tá indo num sentido completamente oposto ao que as pessoas estão fazendo, que os times bons estão fazendo, que é remover o seu IGL, que tem impacto quase nulo na partida, para alguns IGLs mais novos, jogadores mas que tem uma mira um pouco melhor. E eu, particularmente, não tô hypado pra Cloud9. Eu acho que o Ox é muito bom, mas eu acho que, cara, não tem mais espaço hoje no cenário para você ter um IGL que joga extremamente abaixo do que o restante do time. Eu acho que isso foi um meta criado pela comunidade, pelos times, porque você tem que ter um cara megamente jogando, um cara passando as calls, um cara fazendo o time rodar, mas a gente tá vendo que não é a tendência que vai se permanecer para os próximos meses, porque tem IGLs aparecendo hoje no cenário que tem impacto interessante. Então, tipo, da Cloud9, velho, eu acho o Ox um bom jogador, eu acho o Ip um bom jogador, o Zepa, acho que sim, são caras bons, mas eu não consigo imaginar essa Cloud9 sonhando alto com o Venet, porque diferente da Energy, onde você tinha Crashes, Victor e Son jogando muito bem, a Cloud9 não tem esses 3 jogadores extremamente constantes hoje no elenco, tá ligado? Então, é muito difícil você ter um IGL hoje que não tem impacto, joga de Judge em vários mapas, mano. Tipo assim, acabou esse tempo, man. O Venet tá jogando o Valorant de 2020, do primeiro Mundial que ele disputou, que ele jogava de Astra Judge. Tipo assim, cara, eu acho que foi um movimento terrível da Cloud9, tipo, colocar o Venet de IGL. Eu acho que tinha jogadores melhores e a gente viu no campeonato, mano. O cara jogando, velho, assim... É muito estranho, muito estranho. Eu, particularmente, acho que, tipo, velho, é muito estranho hoje a Cloud9 tomar esse movimento, sendo que eles tinham players no mercado pra buscar. Tiraram o Rune também, velho, que foi um cara que apareceu muito bem. Muito estranho mesmo essa movimentação. Mais uma vez, o Venet deve ter algum brother dentro da Cloud9, porque é muito estranho, velho.
I'm kind of just big grain of salt, I think, added to Cloud9's overall performance in the tournament.
So, further on Lev, though, I do want to talk about Ospas and Tex. Like, Sliggy, how are you feeling about their debut in this roster? The synergy, excuse me, with the team, but also how they were doing individually.
I felt like individually they were very good. It felt like Tex was responsible for a lot of big rounds to win, but he was responsible for a lot of like little mistakes that cost them rounds as well. So I feel like in terms of like the learning curve for him, probably the highest. But I think that's expected as well. And Aspas, yeah, I mean, Aspas just looks good. He looks happy. He looks comfortable. It looks like he has a lot of freedom. Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I feel like the whole setup of just giving him pure freedom, which I imagine is what he wants, looks like it's there. And even though sometimes, like you're saying, MW0 is getting the better of him, I feel like the team actually did well of just actually bringing back these rounds. And in terms of like the mistakes that Tex was making, it's just small micro things that maybe is like positioning thing of just like being a newer sentinel and stuff like that. When double duelist came in some of the maps, that's when it started to like really look good. So maybe if they get a bit of a like I said, maybe there's a patch that changes some of the meta, I think like they're going to be one of the teams that maybe thrives as well. So yeah, I was impressed. Just overall, just impressed with the whole team. Yeah, it's very, very scary.
Like when I was watching the Lotus and Split game in the finals, you could tell that their setups weren't quite, there as much to the same degree, but it was still like Split felt like to me like a big individual moments from a lot of players, like King and Aspas was carrying them like a lot of the time. And Lotus genuinely, like Furia could have won Lotus. Like that series.
Pra mim a Fúria poderia ter vencido a Raven e a Lotus mesmo. A Split já ficou difícil, mas Raven e Lotus a Fúria poderia ter vencido.
Times, which is where Furia just need to get the prep together and really figure out a defensive setup so they don't leave as many gaps in their play, and they have better ideas, because it was night and day when you were comparing the two teams regarding that. But in terms of the talent, in terms of them being able to like fight back, they were on point with it. Furia really had a chance to win here, but yeah, or at least on this map. They could have made it much closer. But I think this is quite promising. I mean, like last episode or 2 episodes, I can't remember. We were very doomer, or at least Josh was.
Josh was
doomer.
Said America's might be the worst region.
Yeah, over
America's.
America's.
They were the worst region.
I'm tired of that guy.
I just don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, you see... I'm watching this tournament, and I think there's so much hope, honestly, as well, just from and especially these teams, like the last...
Cara, isso que a gente nem viu a Loud jogar ainda, né? Então, tipo assim, a gente tem Leviatan, Fúria, a Loud, que deve manter um bom nível técnico. A gente não viu os times sendo montados, né? Tipo, a Cloud9, mano, beleza. Eu acho que pode ser considerado um time que tá numa parada legal. A gente não sabe 100 Thieves, não sabe a Energy ainda, a própria EG. Mas o cara falar que a nossa região é a pior região, ele tá completamente maluco, né? Tipo, o Josh que falou aí com eles. Não dá, né, mano? Tipo, depois que a gente viu esse ano, de falar que ainda mais depois da montagem da equipe da Leviatan, Mas a gente tem que ver os outros times, né? Tipo, como vão ser.
Teams, resilient teams. I think you can still expect big things. I don't think America is that weak at all.
No, yeah, I may have been. Listen, it might be the MW pill, but I'm so excited to watch more of this Furia team and see how they progress. I mean, it's just him and just what you had said, Slee, just about Havoc previously being a duelist. You could just see that in the thing. You could just see the duelist within him in the gameplay. He's like a Sky that is unafraid to create his own opportunities when he sees fit, and was getting away with so many crucial kills to like open up a site. Sometimes it was getting ahead of MW, cracking open the site, finding an entry off a flash, or just capitalizing off some player that was running away, catching them out. Like was just mad impressed. So this has instilled some hope for me in America.
Né? Conteúdo do Smoke Mid visto aqui. Cara, eu acho que a gente fazer um panorama, digamos assim, um resumo do que foi essa Superdome. Eu particularmente gostei bastante do que a Fúria apresentou. Eu acho que a Fúria já mostrou um nível de maturidade que a gente viu pouco no time anterior da Fúria. Acho que o Liaz ainda precisa se adaptar a algumas coisas ou outras. Eu acho que assim, ele pode chegar num potencial melhor como controlador, óbvio, cara. É o primeiro campeonato dele como controlador internacional. Então, dá pra gente imaginar que ele vai evoluir. Ainda mais agora com o Luquizeira ajudando ele. O Luquizeira era controlador. E, cara, pra mim, o segredo da Fúria vai ser manter Havok e MWZera jogando juntos, velho. Havok e MW jogando junto. Acho que o trade é bem interessante, o trade que eles estão fazendo. Mano, peraí, rapaziada. Eu vou desligar essa luz aqui. Essa luz tá péssima, velho. Desliguei. Isso. Então, tipo, eu gosto, velho. Eu gosto do que eu vi. Eu gosto do que eu assisti da Fúria. E acho que os caras ainda têm uma margem absurda de evolução pra crescer ainda. E vambora, né, mano? Vambora. Vamos ver se a Fúria consegue buscar algo melhor aí nos próximos campeonatos, cara. Ver aqui. Pera aí, rapaziada.